What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the first show of 2021 here in the garage, live on another Thursday. We've got a good crowd in the chat room already, a lot of familiar faces. Hey, everybody. A lot of people working on some different stuff. I was working today. In fact, I still got some paint on my hand. I wish I had a beer, but it's been a long week and I've got to work tomorrow. It has been one of the busiest weeks I have had in months. So, trying to keep up, to say the least. But, at least, I finally got my motor mount sorted out. Got the brake master cylinder swapped out on the Nova. Headers are coming tomorrow. Hopefully, there will be a big block in the Nova soon. So much going on, so much going on. It's coming along, Andy. How you doing down under? And all the other people tuning in from Australia at this time of morning. What lifters are you going to use? I used comp lifters. I can't remember which ones exactly. Magnums or some crap like that. There's no shortage of available parts on older motors. Oh, dirt floor right off the bat, getting a sweet, sweet nitrous purge for the new year. Zeth, how you doing, brother? It's been a while. Hopefully you had a good New Year's, a good Christmas, or whatever you celebrate. What's going on, Michael? Welcome from Puerto Rico. Yep, solid roller cam. Red Storm. Mike H is here. Philip Dangerfield. Brandon, super slow. Socrates, Script Mike. Script, I don't know if I did. Send it to me again, Script Mike. Stephen S. Michael Tompkins. Catan as always. Would it be bad to turn off LTFT? On decel, it leans out. Long-term fuel trim should not be active whenever you're on deceleration. So, log closed loop status and see if it's staying active on decel. Should not be. Yeah, tell me about it, man. Well, I say I worked a lot. I didn't get as much done as I wanted to, but I'm finally starting to get caught up. What up, TJ? Danny's got a big turbo, 7665 billet. That'll be fun. Ah, congratulations, Rick. Got a new wideband. Get her installed. Let's get some logs. How about to start an LS swap in a Ford Fairmont? About to, Tyler. That'll be cool. I'll be anxious to check it out. Yeah, sure, Mac. Good to see you again. James, we're in Pittsburgh. Hey, Jared from Central Illinois. Recently bought a Fusion 5 tablet to run HP tuners. Having an issue with the wideband staying connected. Sometimes takes restarting the tablet. Any ideas? Brian, check in Device Manager. Make sure that the COM port for the wideband is the only one. I'm taking it that you're using serial to USB. Often, if you have more than one COM port, a lot of the newer laptops have virtual COM ports on there, and if there's a virtual COM port on there, HP Tuner software will grab the virtual COM port before it will grab the serial to USB one. Socrates, I can't remember my specs off the top of my head. I went as, I'm not sure about the duration. Lift was what I was focused on. I went as much lift as I could. What up, Jerry from Canada? Depending on what you're swapping, Philip, valve train noise from a camshaft swap's pretty normal. Where's the best placement for a wideband for part throttle and idle tuning? I would put it further up than the wide pipe. Collector's the best place that you can put a wideband generally. 4L80 swap and segment swap, but doesn't seem to like it starting at first. Takes a second for the truck to move after giving it gas from a stop. Michael, does it kick into gear? Or is it just slow to get off the line? Yovan, getting a Mustang in springtime, going back and forth between getting an email tune or using HP tuners doing it myself. I'll tell you this much. Probably 90% of the email tunes out there are not worth purchasing. They're just kind of canned tunes. As long as you're not going forced induction, you would be surprised how hard it is to actually blow your engine. As long as you take your time, make incremental steps, you'll be perfectly fine. You'll end up with a better tune when you're done. Do I like the 3000 GT VR4? Love them. I almost bought one a long time ago, probably 25 years ago. Ended up with an RX-7, an FD RX-7 instead. Has anybody gotten rid of the torsion bars and went to coilovers on S10 4x4? Interesting question. I don't see why it would be much of an issue because I mean they make coilovers that just mount in the shock perch, right? Strut, whatever you want to call it. Turd went 11.2s on motors at 4,000 with the smallish cam. That's a pretty good time. Where were you at? What was the DA? What kind of catch cans is everyone using? Good question. I've been searching for catch cans myself. I normally go fairly cheap. And then I'll put a little steel wool in it if I think I need some baffling. Can you explain the difference between user math to generate the pressure versus using predefined pressure for the rows in the VVE in a Gen 5? You're talking about pressure ratio, Joshua. It doesn't matter either way. You can use the default pressure ratio math on that one. Still using the same input parameters. Tune MAF or VE first? MAF. It's easier. You can get things running quicker on a mass airflow. Now, the more rowdy your motor gets, mass airflow is going to struggle in the lower RPMs, and VE is better down there. But we're talking like pretty aggressive cam, things like that. Truck will kick into gear. Michael, see, that's worrisome. I would call whoever you got. Was it a rebuilt 4L80? Because shouldn't be doing that. It's almost like a solenoid's not kicking in or something on time. Maybe you don't have enough pressure, but yeah, 3000 GTs, man. That last body style is just doing good. Hey, Dylan. Hey, Hillary. Oh, man, you guys are scrolling too fast for me here. I have installed a few Amazon catch cans myself. Oh, that's right. With the torsion bar, it wouldn't even have shocks, would it? Is there dampening on torsion bars? It's been so long since I've owned a truck with torsion bars. Use a Gatorade bottle for your catch can? Now, I've used Gatorade bottles for my overflow on the radiator. Still having lurching issues when coming to a hard stop. Man, there's so many things that could be, but volumetric efficiency table is probably where it's at. That's pretty decent DA, not too high. Could be a neutral safety switch. Faulty neutral or a questionable neutral safety switch, but log the transmission and see if it's going into gear whenever you first put it in gear. See if it's, you should be able to see the gear command, see if it's hitting that before it's going, or if it's staying in park neutral and then kicking over whenever you feel a kick. John, got my 6-liter back from the machine shop. Nice. Kind of guts you throwing in it? Yeah, that's what I thought. They still have shocks, even though they have torsion bars instead of springs. Valve springs are too strong for a camshaft. I don't necessarily buy into that. Depending on the type of cam is going to depend on the type of how many pounds your springs are, though. Weighing the 67 Chevelle, 2,800 pounds with the driver. I need to get mine on some corner scales. I'm thinking I should be around 2,800 pounds. Super Auto is still in storage. Still need to pull it out and fix the axle on it. But that'll be happening as soon as the Nova gets running decently. We'll get the Super Auto out and get it up and running because there's still a lot of tuning to do. And Paul just asked, are we going to do more in-depth tuning on Gen 5 virtual torque tuning? Yes, we will on the Super Auto. It is by no means dialed in yet. How far can you take the LS3 MAF? You can take it as far as you want to go. If you max it out, you just need to go to a bigger intake duct. It is a calculation of the diameter of your intake duct. Jovan, wide bands, you can connect them through the Pro features on HP tuners. You can connect them through a voltage input such as EGR or AC pressure if you have one available, or some wide bands have a serial output in which you can use a serial to USB. AEMs do, I think Innovates do. You may have to buy an extra pigtail for the Innovates. Marcelino 4L60 installed with 3000 stall converter. Wondering if you do anything with transtuners or just leave alone due to the torque converter. With 3000 stall, the big thing is on the aggressive tables, you want to be able to make sure that you're staying above the stall. The whole reason to have a higher stall is so the thing is not running one-to-one. Basically, you're multiplying torque whenever that thing is stalled. So you might have to adjust some shift points. Keep going rich, 5 to 6 pulls after reducing fuel. Starts at 12.5, then pulls to 11.5. Thoughts? Mike, that's a hard one. I'd probably have to look at your tune in a log, see what was going on. What up, James? Finished tuning an 850C32 wheel drive dually last night, L92 with a Maggie 2300, 7 PSI for now. That sounds crazy. Speed density only, nice. Ooh, using a 58 to 24 converter. Cool. And the converter seems to be working well. I know you can go 58 to 24 pretty easily and it's reliable because you go on higher resolution to lower resolution. You know if running a fuel cooler can dry ice style will be noticeable. No, you won't see any horsepower gains by cooling your fuel off. Was told the spring's bringing the valve closed too hard and that's making the noise. I mean, that could be it, but I mean, it's not that the springs have too high a rate to them. It's just that you have. I mean, I don't know. Yes, TH400 is quite a bit shorter than 60E. Silver Bullet 82, welcome to the members club. Does anyone use the oil level sensor hole for the turbo drain? I don't know why you wouldn't be able to, because that's in the pan, right? The only issue is that on an oil drain into the pan, if there is oil in the line, sometimes that can be enough to get oil out the seals of the turbo. You really don't want your drain to have any kind of restrictions whatsoever. You'd probably be better off tapping into the timing cover or something. Stage 2 might kind of be the limit where the MAF starts having issues below, say, 1500. Yeah, get rid of those Bluetooth ones, Brian. Delete them out and then start HP Tuner Scanner again. See if that helps. Most of the front covers you can probably just take them off and tap them. The cast ones are generally thick enough to get some threads into. Yeah, as I said, if you even have just oil sitting over that hole, it is enough to block it up and start to push stuff out of the seals. I'm sure ICT Billet does, and if they don't, they probably will before too much longer. Those guys are cranking out new parts left and right. If I add more length to my air intake, will it change the tune? Nope. If you're going from the end where the filter is and you extend it out from there, no. As long as the section with the mass airflow sensor in there stays the same diameter, it will be the same. Any specific video I should watch adjusting my Gen 4 after long tubes? Just watch the Gen 4 playlist. Mass airflow, volumetric efficiency. You'll probably be a little bit lean. And the problem is with long tubes, once you install long tubes, your narrow bands no longer function correctly until you adjust them. So keep that in mind. You can't necessarily rely on closed loop operation once you have long tube headers on. Juggernaut GTO, how do you know if secondary VE table is kicking in? Will SDOS get rid of the secondary table? Now that question, I'm guessing James can probably answer. Will the speed density OS get rid of the secondary table or keep it from kicking over to the secondary table? You're on the secondary table whenever the mass airflow sensor has failed. There's probably some other things that might cause it. Tune them at the same time. Adjust the O2 how? You have to adjust the O2 switching voltage because generally they're set up to switch around 450 millivolts. Whenever you put long tubes on, that number goes up. 650 is probably a good starting point, Catan. But I've seen it go up to 800 after long tubes. Yeah, be lean 10-15%. Most likely in that range. But what you can do is if you get your mass airflow or something dialed in where it's idling at stoic, you can let it idle and see the actual voltages that your narrow bands are switching at, even if they're disabled. You can use that as a guideline. Then what you should be able to do is kind of massage those numbers up and down while closed loop is on until your wideband reads 1. Yep, that's good, Catan. That's exactly what you want. The question was secondary VE table. If you do the SDOS on that, does it do away with the secondary VE table where you don't have to tune on it whenever you're in speed density mode? Danny, you can click the little $sign at the bottom of the chat. Do you believe in wrapping headers? And if so, that will change much in tuning. You know, naturally aspirated, probably not. Turbo, you might get a little benefit out of it, keeping the heat in, helping the heat get down the pipe. So I'm not going to say yes or no. I don't know that it'll change anything in tuning, though. Well, the Gen 3.5, you know, the E40 has 2, right? Okay, so the 2 and 3 bar OSs do get rid of the secondary VE tables. And the 1 bar enhanced, which makes sense. And honestly, at that point in time, there's probably no reason not to run one of those patched OSs. There you go. Wrapping turbos really helps to hide my ugly welding. Carpet helps to hide my ugly welding where I welded in the patch panel on the Nova. It's just a little bit better looking than the rust holes that were back there. After getting math and VE dialed in within 2%, which is good. Turning short-term fuel terms and blah, blah, blah. Long terms in O2, everything else. Reset the long terms. I'm getting fat dips under full throttle pulls. Should I be looking at transient fueling? There's a good... well, no. Transient fueling should just be on tip-in. Thank you, Danny Rochester. And you managed to put a picture on there somehow. I don't even know how you do that. Transient should only be on tip-in. If you're getting dips under full throttle, like while you're in the pull, you got something else going on. I would probably just go back real quick and switch it over to mass airflow and speed density and verify that it's not happening on one or the others. Then there's some other stuff that you could probably look at. Some of it might be temperature compensation causing an issue. As you get into the higher RPMs, though, it starts to skew towards IATs, what you want. Correct. Wideband will show dead rich on tip in if it has fuel impact on the walls and stuff like that. Philip, I would actually love to see the 2-hour tune job. Is this one you did or is this one you paid for? John, I've not done the car show winners. I'm going to probably try and do that this weekend. So if you have not voted yet, patrons, go over, click on the link to vote for the car show. Hey, carpet means I don't even have to grind it. I just threw some paint over the top of it and cover it up. Yeah, I'd definitely be interested to see what a 2-hour... I can tell you one thing is, it is going to be mass airflow only. I mean, I can say that about 90% of the tunes out there that somebody's paid for without looking at it. But if it was 2 hours, yeah. 11.5 pig rich on tip in. Because if you're sitting there cruising, you're at 14.7 and you hit 11.5 before you ramp into power enrichment. Well, I don't want it to rust again. Good to hear it, Tension Core. Ah, there's Lin Twin. Oh, I'm sure, Jason. 15, that's not bad. 15's pretty average for the math whenever I do it. Unless there's some weird stuff. What's a healthy EQ ratio for Gen 4? 1.18 to 1.12. 0.85. 0.85 is the 0.85 for everything. We'll just say 0.85. Probably a little bit rich for naturally aspirated. Maybe a little bit lean if there's too much going on. 0.85 is a good place to shoot for. Don't get too OCD on the mass airflow. Now, granted, if I were to open up my tune files for all the tunes that I've done on the truck, I've probably got over 1,000 on that thing, so. Paid $600 and they only did math and power enrichment. Horrible drive, would die when you pushed it in the clutch. There you go. Buy it, do it yourself. And it costs less. What's good for OEO2 sensors on Gen 3? The cheapest ones you can find. As long as you don't mind crawling under and replacing them every once in a while. Reading the 5.7 Hemis like 0.82. Whew, 1.55 for turbo protection. That is super rich. Sometimes it's like that, man. Sometimes you get 200 adjustments in, and the thing is as long as you're making incremental improvements. If you're not, you need to go back, try and figure out why it's not doing something. Looking like a diesel. Tinkering with virtual torque accidentally multiplied by 11 instead of 1.1. That can make things interesting. Do I need to have a talk with her, Andy? Yeah. Yeah, it's scary, man. I've jacked with that stuff. I think I did a test in tune where I jacked with driver demand table one day and almost drove into traffic. Can cast iron be welded? Sort of. That's the way to do it, John. First mod should be a wideband. TJ, please. You're full of yourself. Bingo. Yep. InTune LS is correct. A lot of testing, a lot of small adjustments. Just figure out what they do. Eventually, they all kind of make sense. Notice one day while using the AM4110, I was getting 87. Then did another pull, got 12.5, not 12.7. Could it be that you just said that they're both on gasoline, but I wonder if some of them had E80 or had some ethanol in there. May have gotten a couple percentage of ethanol. Should do a drawing for a free tune to raise money for something. Well, Phil, the thing about it is whenever I won't go down there. Jason N, thank you for the nitrous purge. Was chasing 0.1 to 0.5 degrees of knock, totally randoms. Yep, bingo, burst knock. The way that they police drawings and stuff like that, it's hard to technically raise money because I won't go into the details of it, but I mean, your AFR, your commanded was shifting. Your AFR moving around, that's just, you could have drove through a cold spot and it could cause something like that. Oh, it blows my mind, James, how many people will spend $5,000 on modifications and balk at having to spend $200 on a wideband sensor. What is the next project car going to be? I might be looking. It's going to be a surprise. Probably catch some of you off guard. But stay tuned. I have been looking for another project car. Build a gambler. I don't know what a gambler is. Gremlin. LS swap import. It won't be a Ford. Chevy Love. It'll be something more modern. I'm thinking something in the last 15 years or so. Dude, GTOs are going up in price. GTOs are on their way up. Bought a 2005 LH6 engine with 110 for 600. That's a good steal. What should I jam it in? The first thing you can get your hands on. Can't go wrong. Coyote swapped Malibu. C8 will not be a C8. I don't know that it'll be a neural network car. I don't know yet. I do not know. what's not the Voodoo? I'd rather do a Voodoo swap than a Coyote. C5s are probably still the biggest bang for your buck, but C6 prices are getting down low enough that they're very reasonable to get an LS3 C6 now. Any more deep dives into Ford PCMs? Eclipse DSM. Good question, man. I think I'm going to do a office review on the Ford stuff here soon and talk a little bit about, because I want to start some conversation around some of the Ford PCM stuff. Convert an EV to gas. Yeah. I haven't even watched that. I built a turbocharged LS swapped Miata. That would be a fun car, Speedhouse. You got any videos of it underneath your name? I'll go look you up later. Some UPS trucks have LS engines. Build a monster C6 and go head-to-head with Cletus McFarland. I ain't got the money to go head-to-head with him. I don't have Texas Speeds sending me free motors every time I blow one up. Hey, man. Yeah, exactly. Money or sponsors. Throw a turbo on the Crown Vic, then if you swap it to an LS, put the turbo on the LS. Yeah, that's cool, Speedhouse. I've owned a Miata. I had a 99. This is true, Brandon, but it also helps what's in the motor. Motor gets you a long way, then the tune makes it run. Boosted Coyote, how likely would it be to take subscriber tune logs, make a video going over issues, etc.? I've done that in the past for some patrons. I would like to start doing that some more. I've got to get some things to settle down. The big thing right now, as I said, is, we got to get this Nova ready, because we're going to try and make Rocky Mountain Race Week in the Nova and run in the big block NA class. And I've got to get a lot of work done to get that thing ready to pass tech. Is there a way to anti-lag on HP tuners without a timing box? Depending on the platform, it will on a couple. Nothing on Chevrolet stuff, though. GM stuff. I don't think Dodge. Well, I won't speak for Dodge. Some Fords you might be able to. Some imports you can. Dude had fun for a few hours. That's exactly what I look like. Ricky Martin. Speaking of which, I got a haircut today. What do you guys think? She did a pretty good job. I look a little less like a heathen. Is it normal for a stock 5.3 to have negative timing across the top half of the table? No. That sounds like a pop and bang tune. Could a bad tune be giving me the extra noise I have in my valve train? Most likely not. Thank you, Kenneth Reed, for welcome to the members club. Shane Rizzo, welcome to the members club. Hey, Brandy, you missed a couple episodes. I started the show without a hat on. Didn't even realize it. People thought that somebody had hijacked the show. How about a rear-mounted remote turbo? I've done that on the Silverado. And I pushed it through the supercharger. There's a couple old videos. If you go back to the beginning of the Silverado video list, you will find my compounded turbo supercharged setup. It was ridiculous. But I couldn't get the turbos to quit smoking, so I ended up taking it off and just putting a really big supercharger on. Nah, that's not true, John. Speedhouse Super Auto will be rolling back into the garage soon as the Nova rolls out. You've all done a anti-log switch on stock GM ECM, basically shorts the IAT signal. Yeah, I guess you could do that. Kind of like they do the IAT signal for nitrous to force it into that high IAT range. What up, PMAZ? You're just in time for me to sign off. Can you disable all the fast torque exit for an auto trans? I think so. Fast torque is the torque that arrives after the before and after the shift, so I don't know that I would necessarily go too crazy about it, because that's the stuff that's going to, the fast torque is what pulls your timing on a shift. I mean, it's just, you're really asking to kill these transmissions once you go messing with any torque settings that directly affect the transmission. You can put a lot of power through a 6L80, something like that, 4L80, 8L80, whatever they call them. You can put a lot of power through those things as long as you allow it to pull power during shifts. Yeah. Even with the sump pump on there, it was spewing smoke out the back constantly. Yeah, buddy, John. We need to get some pictures of that. Yeah, removing the fuel cut probably be fine in 2LS. The timing's the big one. If you're a manual, you don't have fast torque exit. You might have the option on there, but it's never getting it. The TCM has to request it. Do I have a comprehensive video on trans tuning? No, because I don't like trans tuning. I do have a video where I talk about adjusting shift pressure and shift times and stuff like that, but I'll be honest with you, there is no comprehensive trans tuning. Trans tuning is such a feel thing where you have to go in and make adjustments and feel how the adjustments feel, what you're looking for. It's not like engine tuning where there is a set way of doing it. Now, there is certain things that you don't want to do on trans tunes, but for the most part. Biker Boy says, want a quick way to destroy a transmission? Put a 4-cylinder 5-speed manual behind a cam 6-liter. Honestly, Montage, I don't know about that. I don't know if the Corvette 4L60 would have different stuff with the solenoids or not. I don't know, Jerry. I don't know about Canadians joining. You should be able to join. I'll have to look into that. Precision Transmission quoted you $5,000 for a 2-speed? For how many horsepower, John? Seems a lot for a 2-speed. 1,500 for $5,000? No. You can get a 1,200 for $2,000. Find somebody else. Call FTI, John. See what they'll do it for. FTI makes great stuff. Any good transmission shops in my area? I don't know. Yeah, call those guys. Call FTI and see what they'll do at 1,500 horsepower. I said I only paid like $2,200 for my 1,200 horsepower Power Glide. So, okay, gonna wrap it up. Great crowd tonight. Stick around. We might do a live stream this weekend. See if we get this motor to fit in this car. It's gonna be tight. I'm worried about the headers. gonna be crazy. I did get the harness out. I ended up, because there's just not enough race money to go around right now, I ended up buying a painless harness, so we'll be installing a painless harness instead of running a power management unit. Not a big ordeal. I would hope to do that, but you gotta balance, hey, I need to buy race car parts, and these are wants, these are needs, you know, and I need a 9-inch for that thing more than I need something like that, so. But you guys know the drill. Thanks for stopping by the garage. ABT, always be tuning.